In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.
Welcome back to the show, Paul Amadeus Lane. We're talking about game-changing technologies out there. If you missed our first interview, and we talked about how we can live off the grid and still have the conveniences of keeping medicines cool, food cool, have some lighting out there, charge our cell phones, because we can't live without our cell phones, right? Make sure you go back and check out that interview. Remember, you can always connect with me, PaulAmadeusLane.com, and don't forget to always let us know any subjects out there that you would like for us to delve into, that you would like more understanding on. Don't forget to check in and check us out and let us know how you feel. All right, so let's talk about closed caption. How many of us use that technology? We know that it was primarily created for ones who were hearing impaired, so that they can see things across the screen and watch movies, videos, and so forth. Well, our friends over at Verizon Media are kicking things up a notch with their great innovation. So let's check in with them and see what they have been up to. Joining me right now is a great friend of mine. I talked about him in the introduction. Great things he's doing over at Verizon Media. Larry Goldberg, head of Verizon Media. How are you doing, my friend?
That's great to hear from you again, Paul. And so I don't get my boss in the wrong place. I'm head of accessibility for Verizon Media. And that's why we're talking, because we love talking about technology and how it helps people with disabilities.
Absolutely. So that's the next promotion. See, Larry's got promoted a few months ago. So congratulations on the promotion. And, before I start, Steve Ewell and I had a great conversation about how awesome you are. So I just wanted to put that out there before we start.
Steve Ewell is a great friend, and he is very involved in the Consumer Electronics Show every year in Las Vegas, which, if any of your listeners get a chance, what a crazy environment that is. And that group, the Consumer Technology Association, is very dedicated to accessibility on new technology for consumers.
Yes, they are. So Larry, what have you been up to lately, head of accessibility over at Verizon Media?
Yeah, we are having fun every day, Paul. And that's why we love talking to you. As you know, Verizon Media is made up of a number of really interesting brands and products, such as Yahoo Finance and Yahoo Fantasy Sports and AOL and TechCrunch, Yahoo Mail. Brand new version of Yahoo Mail just came out that is so accessible. We challenge anyone who has any kind of different needs, try out Yahoo Mail. It's got lots of built-in accessibility. So that's brand new for us, just came out, and we spent a lot of time making Yahoo Mail pretty great. Nothing's ever perfect, but we think it's pretty good. Stands up to the competition. We are absolutely working on Yahoo Fantasy, and last time we talked, you challenged me to a Yahoo Fantasy football season match. I'm speaking today from Boston, if you can see the towers behind me. We won't talk much about football today because it's a very touchy subject. But next year, we're going to have a competition.
See, that's what I'm talking about. We'll get Margot, we'll get Christina, we'll get the rest of the crew from Verizon Media. We'll have a football league. We'll have a draft party. We'll have fun. We'll do all that great stuff. We'll have some fun with it.
And we have some great users who are blind, who are commissioners of their own league. And that tells us we're doing something right, because, fantasy is a complicated sport. A lot of power users. And if you can't see, well, we hear Yahoo Fantasy is pretty good, works pretty well for you.
And Larry, I'm glad you brought that up, because the technology and innovation that you guys have put together with Verizon Media has been hands down just really stellar. And to have this innovation where our blind friends out there can take part of playing fantasy football, I think is incredible, Larry.
It floors me, because I can't even operate the app because I'm not as deep into fantasy. But boy, those fantasy players, they're crazy with how they can handle the technology.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, Larry. Like every Sunday, I'm like glued to my app, to my TV to see how my scores are going and everything. So I definitely get it. And Larry, one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about, I didn't get a chance to go, was the XR symposium that went down. So please share with us some of the highlights of that amazing event.
Yeah, it was great. You and I talked last before we gathered leaders in the virtual reality community who really want to make this new technology accessible for people with disabilities. Now, people then ask me, how are you going to do that? And my answer has basically been, we don't know. We're collecting the experts. We're collecting people with disabilities in the community, researchers from universities all over the world. And we got together in July at Cornell Tech, which is a university with a branch right in New York City. And we gathered 120 of the leaders in this field. And if you're a consumer, you may have heard of Magic Leap, HoloLens, Oculus. These are the technologies, Samsung HTC Vive. These are the technologies that people are now using in their workplace for entertainment, for gaming, for commerce. And we decided we don't want to wait any longer to find out how we can make sure that people with disabilities can use it. And we launched this big initiative, XR Access. We use XR as a term that means virtual reality, augmented reality, extended reality, immersive reality, any kind of alternate world you can enter into in the world of digital technology. And we are now figuring it out. We put together 6 working groups. They're going to attack this issue from the standard side, the device side, the infrastructure, the creative content side, authoring tools. We launched that just in the past few weeks after we got together in July. And we are putting actions with our words. And we're going to develop some really interesting ways that whether you have a mobility impairment, a sensory, you're going to get a chance to use this technology right alongside everyone else.
And Larry, when we look at virtual reality, XR, and the whole movement, talk about how can ones who have a vision impairment are able to use and experience VR? Because for ones out there who may not be aware of this, this is pretty a big thing for the community.
Yeah, yeah, and we're having a lot of fun figuring out this notion. We love when people say, "Oh, you can't do that." You know, it's like in the early days of video description. Really, blind people watch TV? Yeah, they do, and we're going to find ways to adapt it. So we created a video description that describes your environment. Well, imagine your environment is purely virtual or 360 degrees, that you're looking all around you in a virtual environment, and it's very visual. Well, if you can't see, we have discovered ways of attaching audio descriptions to objects in this virtual world. So through your gestures, you can point at them. You can have them with beacons that pop up on you as you walk through this virtual world. And it's turning visuals into audio, which is what you need for a blind person to change what is visual into haptics, meaning you can touch it. Your device might vibrate. It might signal to you in various ways that there's things that are of visual interest, and we turn that into then audio through very careful scripting, writing, and coding within these virtual environments. It's really fun, and our designers are having a ball. We've just done a prototype on virtual shopping. So this notion that augmented reality, you can go on a shopping site, pick out a chair, a lamp, and plunk it right into your living room and see how it looks, or try on a pair of sunglasses. And we're finding ways to make that accessible to blind people too.
I'm blown away by this innovation, Larry, and to look at where we're at in a stream of time where this is made possible now through technology and innovation. And at the XR Symposium, was there anything else that just kind of blew you away about maybe some collaborations or something where the community got together and say, hey, let's take some steps to really further this cause?
Yeah, we spent the whole day working on, we did presentations. This one blind woman named Chancey Fleet, who's head of the New York Public Library Talking Books area, and she gave this presentation on her technology mediated world. And if you're in the field of virtual reality, of course you think about putting technology in people's hands, but that's what blind people do every day. And she really made an impact to all these people from the high tech companies. The one thing that carried across every discussion we had that day was the need to increase awareness and outreach. That was primary because it's just not as well known. I mean, I'm grateful to you, Paul, for highlighting this issue in your show. And we're going to do that across the board. And we'll come back here as often as you like. But raising the awareness among people who are coding, developing, creating apps is probably the first thing that everyone in the room said we need to do. We need to develop best practices. The kind of stuff I'm talking about, and how do you put captions in a virtual world for deaf people? How you describe objects? These are guidelines and standards we're going to be developed. One of the most important things we learned, of course, is they're beginning to use virtual reality for education. K-12, college, lifelong learning. Well, these are communities that are not only hungry for nice, accessible learning experience, it's required by law in many situations. So that world, the world of education, is going to be one of our greatest focuses. And we're really looking forward to that. And of course, applications, hardware, and the content creators. They were in the room. They were so excited about thinking about collaborating with blind people, with developers, with people in the disability community, and figuring out ways how to extend their audiences. They want to reach everyone they possibly can. We've got the expertise to share across those boundaries.
And Larry, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I feel bad, because there's a video portion, an audio portion of my show, and I have neglected to really look at ways of implementing closed caption for my vision impaired brothers and sisters who are disabled. So I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of us who are in the media, that's something we need to make sure that we are doing, so that we can reach more people out there with our message. And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm also glad that you said you'll come back and join me as you guys do outreach and everything. And don't big time you like certain people do when I get them when they're just starting out. As soon as they mushroom and blow up, they don't know me no more. No, I'm just joking. But thank you so much. And yeah, and I really do see, the need of this outreach. And what has been, I guess, kind of the feedback, or just feedback that you've gotten from ones that you may have reached out to who may have not implemented this type of technology of closed caption?
Well, I'll give you one data point. After the symposium, we were only able to invite 120 people. We had about 250 who wanted to join in this community of practice we're creating. So we put out a call and said, you want to stay involved? You want to join one of these working groups or lead one? Well, we were shocked. Over 150 people said they want to stay involved. 26 people said they wanted to lead these working groups. That's a rate of return you never see in this kind of environment. So the feedback has been great. We think we're touching people's creativity. We're touching their desire for a challenge, and the rationale of, I'd like to do something good for the world and not just sell devices. And we're getting that kind of feedback too. We know the universities are hungry to do research in this field and come up with new techniques and technologies. So they've been pouring out to us. We are very likely to do another one next year, an XR Access Symposium in 2020. And we'll make sure that we announce it on your show, and we'll hopefully have a much bigger venue so we can even have a lot more people. We may be in New York again, maybe Seattle. We'll figure it out.
And you know what? Los Angeles is not a bad area too, Larry. To come out to Los Angeles, so I can just put a little bug in your ear, Silicon Valley. It's not that bad too. But I understand. You got to keep in mind all the attendees. I can't be selfish here, but and I'm glad, Larry, to see that, because you and I have been in this tech game for many years, and it really wasn't a receptive ear that we would get at times speaking to different companies out there when it comes to innovation. But it's nice to see that we're able to connect with ones now. And, my strategy is if you were in my shoes or another person's shoes, if you couldn't see, you couldn't walk, wouldn't you want to experience, these great technologies? And I'm glad people are at that point now where they listen now and really connect with the message. And you guys are doing a fantastic job sharing that message, Larry.
Time has come. I mean, obviously, you and I, Paul, couldn't go to work every day if we didn't have some optimism that our message is getting across. And it is. And we're making progress every day. I love when some of these big tech companies are getting involved in this field of accessibility, and most of them are now, the big ones. It's the smaller ones as startup that really need some hand-holding. And they'll always say, well, how many blind people really are using this? Or how many people in wheelchairs are actually using this technology? And though we can get that data and we can say 20% of the population has a disability, in fact, if it's your child or your spouse, the only number that matters is one. It's your personal experience. And we're very big on personalized premium experiences. And the numbers are, of course, important. We're an advertiser-driven business. But when it comes down to one-on-one and caring about our users, that's the number that matters. And you know what? People hear that. They really do.
Yeah, and that's a great way of articulating that, Larry. I mean, that should shut down any barrier right there when you use that analogy. I mean, and it just and when we look to Larry just at how far we've come with closed caption and staying abreast of all the innovation out there, and you guys do that really well at Verizon Media. What type of challenges do you guys face to make sure that the innovation is cutting edge and really of use to the user?
Yeah, we're generating a lot of new technologies every day, and we're getting stuff out the door. Like our Yahoo Finance Premium program has got all kinds of special new features, and we've got to stay current with that. Like there are stock charts in Yahoo Finance where you might want to follow the ups and downs of your stock, your company. We've developed a way for blind people to follow those charts and have the line chart talk to them. And one of the best ways we've done that is connecting with the developers. Getting this infused in their work plan and in their lives so that they come up with the ideas. We don't have to be chasing them around. They are now coming up with these ideas as they're developing the new technologies. And that's really the best way to work. We're finding, like our captioning, Yahoo Finance is now going to provide transcripts of every show. Because we're captioning it, we have access to the transcripts. You could do the same, Paul, and I'll talk to you offline. You could turn this entire show into a written transcript for your deaf listeners,
Wow.
And they have equal access.
I would definitely love it. Thank you so much. I will definitely chat more about that. That's amazing. And one other thing I noticed too, Larry, is when we have these accessible features, other folks use them too. Like ones who don't have the vision impairment, who are blind, who are disabled, they like it too. So we're starting to see this shift where these accessible technologies are just becoming technologies out there that people are using.
We always care about our stakeholders first, but when we can make this a mainstream attraction to all of our users, way better. That's a big win. And closed captioning is a great example. So many people today are watching video or looking at their smartphones all day long. I ride the subway to work and I can see people with their head down all day. And then an ad comes up, a video ad. If that ad isn't captioned and the person doesn't turn on audio, which most people don't, we've measured that, how are they going to get the advertising message across? Well, closed captioning, invented for deaf people, is working really well for advertisers to get their message across because people aren't listening to audio. So mainstreaming our accessibility successes is key for us, and we work on that all the time.
I love it. I love it. And Larry, is there anything else that you would like to tell the viewer, the listener, and soon the reader of this program about
Right.
just Anything else from the symposium that you would like for us to make sure we walk away from?
Well, there's one piece of news that catching up on when we first met, when you came to see us at the CSUN conference, Technology for People with Disabilities, was the disability collection of Getty Images. And it's not the XR world, but I want to get back to that. All those beautiful images, authentic, real life images of people with disabilities that we're working with the Getty Images Group and the National Disability Leadership Alliance. Well, we just put together a major grant program. We put together $40,000 to give to photographers to enhance their work of taking pictures of people with disabilities in real world, real life, authentic situations. And that was just announced, and that money is now available. You can go to thedisabilitycollection.com and find out how we're going to enhance and feed that Getty collection even bigger.
I love it. So Larry, you're gonna make me go on a diet, man, because I've been eating a lot lately, and even though I think all the sexiness I have is to a benefit of me, but physically is not, because my doctor is always getting on me about losing weight, so I'm gonna have to lose weight so I can look good in those Getty pictures if I'm ever a part of those pictures. So thank you so much for sharing it. That's major news, Larry.
Yeah, it's great. We feel great about continuing to feed that. And look, Paul, you're authentic. You're as real as it can be. So we'll take you as you are. Don't worry about that.
All right, I appreciate that. I got some family members I want you to share that with too, because they don't share that sentiment with you. But Larry, thank you so much. So Larry, how can we find out more information about the great work that you guys are doing over at Verizon Media?
Yeah, well, the easiest thing is the good old tried and true email. Accessibility at verizonmedia.com is really a great way to reach us. Our website is verizonmedia.com/accessibility. And I'd start there. We really, really want to hear from people. We want to hear about the problems they're having as well as the joy they're getting out of our apps and websites. So yeah, please do write to us. Accessibility at verizonmedia.com. Try out all of our apps and tell us what you think.
I love it. Thank you so much, Larry, for sharing us all the information about the XR Symposium, about the latest updates of what's happening with Verizon Media. And we thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us. We look forward to talking to you real soon. Always come back on when you have some breaking news or just want to chat too. We always love chatting with you, Larry.
That would be great. I'd love to come on anytime. Appreciate all your interest, and maybe we can do a face-to-face sometime in LA.
Hey, let's do it, man. We'll resurrect CSUN like 2.0, right? We'll do some things together, and that'll be awesome, my friend.
He'll be there next year. Hope to see you there. Huge
shout out to my friend Larry Goldberg, head of accessibility at Verizon Media. To head of Verizon Media. Larry's like, no. But appreciate talking with Larry. I'm looking forward to next year's fantasy draft. We're going to get everybody at Verizon Media, hopefully, to play some fantasy football. I'm going to talk about it too each week and see how we all did, the weeks and everything. All right, well, I am going to hit you up with the deuces. And until next time, take care, folks. I love you all dearly. Remember, always reach out to me, paul@AmadeusLane.com. That's the best way to find out where I'm at on social media, and email the show, email the crew, and we look forward to hearing from you. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.